Don't cross-dressing when playing online games. Author, Agamora. Crossdress Small World, Part 1, Youth Mistake. Have you ever played through the MMORPG online game? Where I live, most MMORPG games require very little skill. Instead, you have to top up to get stronger. No matter how much time you spend on character leveling, one thing's for sure, you won't be able to beat the big guys with tons of money pouring into the game. However, this game genre is very popular where I live. Simply, because they helps people satisfy their hobby of standing above the world without having to practice too much. Of course, I don't know where you live, so I wouldn't equate every MMORPG game with a pay-to-win. My name is Banks, a young man addicted to online games. Unlike most of my peers, I can bury my head in video games all day without getting bored. I'm addicted to games, but to be honest, I'm pretty bad at gaming. I rarely win games that require skill like FPS or even strategy like RTS. One day, I went to MMORPG online games and saw them as the truth of life. Most of these games where I live take the theme of the world of Wuxia, where you can immerse yourself in a virtual historical world with beautiful scenery and character designs. Moreover, MMORPG online games usually do not require too much skill. Every guide and character building route is shared by old players on the forums. However, I still can't play these games well. In the beginning, I usually choose a male character and play in a typical style. But it wasn't long before I realized that this approach was useless. While I spent a lot of time staring at the screen, other players only took a few days to have a character capable of killing my character in a single note. Not to mention, free-to-play players like us are often targeted when teleporting to areas where park is allowed. I want to play games for fun, not for extra anger. So, I decided to switch to pay-to-win mode. But the brutal reality is still there, my family is not well off. The meager amount of money I make from a few crappy MMO jobs isn't enough for me to sustain for too long. And so, even though I switched to pay-to-win mode, I still became the target of being killed in the game. I'm in extreme despair. For a low-level game addict like me, this game genre was a last resort, but in the end I still had to suffer the fate of a loser. Out of desperation, I came up with an idea that I thought at the time to be very wise. I think many MMORPG players like me choose a character other than the actual gender to start the game. But my intentions were bigger. I decided to create a new account with a female character, and I also decided to pretend like I was a girl behind the computer screen. Who knows, maybe other players will treat me better by doing this. That's right, I don't have the days of running for my life because of being chased and killed in areas where park is allowed. I also got acquainted with a group of male players who followed me to level up. In this game there are very few female players, so they love the only girl in the team. I learned the conversation of the mischievous girls I met during my school years. I'm not going to be overly flamboyant because maybe that will cause suspicion. That's why, for a long time, no one discovered that I was just a guy pretending to be a girl playing game. Those days are also the best days in my gamer life. But human nature always wants to take a step forward. For a long time, I feel that this is not enough. I switched to let other male players to give me premium items. Sometimes I even use this method, they even spend a large amount of money to top up VIP for me. Give an inch and they take a mile. I fell more and more into the path of deceit and sin. I also inadvertently killed the days I thought were the most beautiful. How can things go so smoothly in this life? Until one day, something troublesome happened. A male player whose account is KillTheIlurateX, he is also the one who top up for me and gives me the most valuable items. Even in the game I was a couple with him thanks to the marriage function in the game. Sometimes we also show a lot of very emotional moments. For a long time, other players who have known us all think we are a perfect couple, even though this is just a virtual world in the game. Back to the story, he wanted to invite me to a coffee shop to meet and chat. He also did not hide his intention to turn fake love into reality. I was very worried, because I understood one thing well: there can be no fake love into reality. I am a man, and so is he. Although in the game I chose a female character and married him, but that was just my cheating behavior. I was about to decline, but then he sent another text. He threatened that if I didn't agree to meet him, he would find a way to track down where I live and accuse me of cheating him a lot of money in the game. He said to understand him, he just wanted a meeting with his beautiful in-game love. After reading the Kill the Irate Ex's messages, I pondered for a long time. I can't let him come to where I live and denounce me. Maybe I'm a shameless guy who doesn't need a face. But I can't let my parents and relatives be involved in misfortune because of me. I decided to go see him and apologize for everything. I will try to beg him as much as I can, in case he refuses to compromise. I just hope he doesn't drag my family into it. I texted him to agree. I wasn't about to confess to him that I was a guy over text message because I thought meeting him up and confessing would show more sincerity. We arranged to meet the next morning at a coffee shop quite far from my house. Even so, I agreed to travel the long way there to see him, perhaps because my conscience felt guilty. The next morning, I took the bus to the appointed place. I had to change buses several times before I arrived. This area is quite quiet, not as busy as where I live. Following the address, I came to a coffee shop that is not too big, but the layout is quite nice. I don't know if this coffee shop is normally crowded or not, but when I arrived, this place was currently empty. I also think it's normal, because this place is relatively empty of people. The living standard of the locals is not too high to spend money on coffee as in my place. As soon as I entered the shop, there was a pretty waitress who greeted and welcomed me. I chose a visible seat and ordered a drink. Then I texted him to call him out. Since he was a resident of this place, it didn't take long for me to see him appear at the door of the coffee shop. He wandered around for a while but couldn't find who he was looking for. I saw that, so I shyly waved my hand to him. He approached me in surprise and asked, "You called me? Have you seen any girls here just now?" I faltered, hello. I'm Bablove123. Actually, I'm a man. I'm so sorry I lied to you." After hearing what I said, his face flashed with anger. But just a second later, he returned to his normal expression. This is very confusing for me. He asked me slowly, "Can you explain why?" I replied, "I love playing games, but I am terrible at games. I don't have much money, so I have to use this method. I didn't think I would go that far at first either. I hope you understand and forgive me. I will do whatever it takes to pay you back." He said, "So it is. Money matters are temporarily put aside. I will refer to this issue later. I'm rich, but I'm not crazy enough to throw money at the window. I feel that we talk quite well. First of all, we should make friends. I'm Dustin, now 25 years old, how about you?" I'm glad he doesn't seem too angry, which makes it easier for me to negotiate. I replied, "I am Banks, 22 years old this year. Nice to meet you." He continued, "Wait a minute, I need to go to the bathroom." Having said that, he left for a while. The drink I ordered was also brought up after that. Not long after, he came back and asked me many questions such as career, life, reviewing moments in the game. I also enjoyed talking with him. But for some reason, I felt more and more headaches. Could it be that I was worried yesterday so I didn't sleep deeply? After a while, my eyes dimmed and then closed. To be continued. Today's story would like to stop here. Thank you for watching. Please like and share for people with similar interests to motivate me to develop my channel. Goodbye and see you in another story.